Greetings everyone, and welcome to the official kickoff of this extreme playthrough series of Distant Worlds Universe. We had tons of comments on the preliminary video I posted. We had 90 comments. Granted, half of those were me responding to you guys, but I'm still impressed with the amount of comments that came along with that initial episode. And we do have some good suggestions on the game setup that I went over in that video. So we're going to actually get started. Not too much to say other than I got a little bit of a technical note. I'm going to start recording this series in 1080p, and we'll see how that goes, and do give some good responses in the comments on how that looks for you. I was looking through my demographics, and a very small percentage of people actually watch on tablets and phones. We're talking maybe 89% on computers, and then the rest are distributed among consoles, tablets, phones, and other devices. So a majority of the people are watching on desktop. So I kind of think I need to go with the majority here, and I'm thinking people watching on desktop will enjoy the 1080p, and I do want to start bringing better quality videos to my channel, so I just assume go to 1080p if I possibly can. Now, if I get a lot of responses saying that no, that's not working for us, then I will drop back down to 720p, and maybe even later in the game when things get really busy, I might have to do that anyways. But we're going to initially start off at 1080p and see how that works out. So do leave some good comments or leave some comments below, and let me know how that looks for you. So we're going to get going. We'll just quickly go through the setup. I went through a lot of this when I did the preliminary video, so we're not going to spend too much time in here, other than I'm going to point out what changes I've made since then. I think everything on here is the same except for the pirates. It was suggested I bring them back to weak instead of having them at normal. So I've done that, and we're still going to be nearby, and they're not going to respawn once they're wiped out. So they're going to be around for the first part of the game and then probably gone for the end part of the game anyways. I also had a suggestion to maybe make the tech a little more expensive. I think I'm just going to leave it where it is. Again, I don't want it too expensive for this Let's Play, so we're going to go with just the expensive, the setting right here instead of the very expensive. So I think that's all the changes I made on that screen. Okay, and in this screen, I'm just going to pop this up to match the 106% here. Somebody made a suggestion to maybe increase the independent alien life. I think I'm just going to leave it where it is. For my test runs, I think there's enough of them on the map. There's not many, but there's enough, and they do spawn throughout the game too. I don't think it's just at the beginning of the game where they spawn. I think they do come up later on in the game as well. So I think I'm just going to leave that setting there. I really want the empires to have to colonize rather than just take over all the independents, because that's usually my initial exploit, is to take over all the independent life and do my early expansion that way. So I'm thinking I'm just going to leave them at rare, and then we'll depend on our colonization efforts to actually do most of the expansion. And like I said, I think there's a 50-50 chance that I'll actually end up with an independent near me. Most of the games I tried, I didn't really see any until much later on. So, and all my test games, I've only played like 20-25 years of the game just to do the test runs. So I haven't been that far into the game anyways. It was also suggested that I increase this as well, just because some of the AI players are out in the outer reaches of the spiral galaxy, and it's a bit tough for them to actually get going. So I think I'm just going to maybe increase this to about 1.5, and we'll go with that. Just a little bit more range for the AIs that are stranded out in the edge of the spiral. Okay, and we're still going to go with the humans. That's not an issue there, so we'll just carry on. It was suggested maybe I change the color to yellow, so I've done that. Now, empire name. I do have a few suggestions anyways, so I'm just going to bring up a notepad here where I've got those written down. And here are the different suggestions we have for an empire name. Michael Olson suggests the Terran Federation, which is, I guess, from Starship Troopers. Datamid Forcer suggests the Starman Empire. Tom Nugget suggests the Terran Empire. Josh, I'm not even going to try your last name because I know I'll butcher it, so I'm just going to say Josh. And he's saying the dreaded Monty Empire, which kind of like that one. Boobies, I'm guessing that's what he's going for with the Q's here. He's saying the Terran Dictorate. And Chaos Angel United Earth Federation. So in order to pick one, I am going to go to randomnumber.org, or just random.org, and I'm going to enter a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 6, and I'm just going to hit generate. Number 6. Number 6 is it. We are going to be the United Earth Federation, or UEF for short, but I think I'll go with the actual long name on this. Okay, so there's our empire name. Done. Thank you for the suggestions, guys. So there we are. It was also suggested by Icemania, the author of the AI improvement mod, to go from agreeable to excellent. I think it was Icemania that suggested that. Just to bump us up a little bit. That was going to be actually, from my test runs, yeah, that was going to be actually pretty darn hard. So going up to excellent, I put myself on the same footing as the AI players as far as starting systems in our home system. Favorability of our home system includes factors like resource abundance, population, blah, 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 sort of thing. And we do start with about 5 billion population at this level, so that's going to help out significantly. And I think I left everything else here at normal. Military dictatorship. Somebody suggested maybe go to monarchy, but we'll have a look at governments once we get in the game, and I'll go over why I decided to go with military dictatorship. Okay, other empires. Again, I'm going to go with 19 other empires, and this one keeps going to average for some reason. I've made one little adjustment to this. I did have 9 and 9, 9 at distant and 9 at average. And I found that that setting gave too close to me. This gives me a little more breathing room with only 6 on average. And these actually show up fairly close to me, so I'm not going to go nearby or anything like that. And Icemania also suggested putting some insectoid races on our map. And I'm guessing that's so that the Shakturi will have some allies themselves. So I put the Boskarans, the Dayuts, the Slukins, all 3 of those will be at distant, and I've put one nearby, or at average, the Gizurians. And most of them are hive mind. It just defaults to that when you generate the game, so we're just going to go with that. And I think that's about the only changes I've made to the game. And we're starting in PreWarp. So it was suggested that maybe we start in the standard era, but I think we're just going to go with PreWarp. I like to start all my games with PreWarp, and we'll take it at that. So I think that's all we're going to talk about as far as a setup. So I'm going to generate the map. I'm going to pause the video while that happens, and I'm going to generate the map, and we will get back into it once the game generates. We'll see you then. Oh, I guess I got one more screen to talk about. We're going to allow tech trading. It was suggested that we do this, and I'm just going to make it a house rule that I don't exploit this for cash. I'll do tech for tech. I'll trade tech for tech, or tech for going to war with somebody or whatever, get alliances and that. But I'm going to avoid using the tech trading for a cash grab, and I'm just going to make that an in-house rule. We can't really set that up, so I'm just going to make sure I don't do that. And okay, I think that's the end of the screen. So I'll see you once we get it back into the game. Alright, our game is now generated, and we are the United Earth Federation, and we are the ruler of the humans. Our style of government is military dictatorship, and we have one colony and one system. We have various victory conditions here, which we're not going to be concentrating on too much, but we'll be using it to track our progress. And we are a standard empire in the Age of Shadows. Pirates, smugglers, and mercenaries rule the galaxy. Your empire is largely undeveloped with no space technology. Before you can take to the stars, you must first research critical technology like hyperdrives and colonization. Meanwhile, pirates and others retain these key technologies and thus dominate galactic affairs. As a fledgling stellar empire, you must first develop the technologies you will need to manipulate pirates and smugglers to work for you. And we have various suggestions of what we should do, but I think we're all pretty versed on what we need to accomplish here. So we're just going to start playing and hit pause right away. And I see our leader automatically got a trait, so we'll have to look at that in a sec. Okay, just looking at this, it looks like we're going to have a fairly big starting system here. And probably fuel right beside us. Perfect. And we'll just zoom out a little bit. We got 2 runes. Perfect. We have an abandoned ship over here, which we'll have to beeline to first. Make sure the pirates don't get that. And we've got lots of gas giants in here, so I don't think fuel is going to be a problem with this game. Excellent. Okay, let's zoom out a little further. And yeah, a little blank on this side, but I think we got enough on this side that we can get some early game exploration going. I find the early game explorers have a fuel range of about here. But we can only go halfway because we have to turn around and refuel at the halfway point. So we're not going to actually get out that far, but we'll probably get all this explored before we have to increase our warp drives and everything. But that's an issue for a little later. Right now we're going to be contained down in here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is rename our star before we get going. And we just come into the editor to do that. Click on the star, double click, and Tyrannia, I think. Oops, let's try. There we go. Tyrannia. We're Terrans, so Tyrannia, I guess. I go for Sol, except I happen to know that star already exists in the game somewhere. It always does, so I'm just going to go with something a bit different. So that's all we're going to use the editor for. We'll get out of there. So now we're the Tyrannia system. Okay, so let's have a look around at our homeworld first. Ooh, 97%. That's kind of the low end of the excellent starting. I've seen it anywhere from 97 to 100%. So we're on the low end of that setting, I guess. But 32.5, we're going to get to be fairly big. So I'm guessing 24, maybe 25 billion people here. And we are the humans. We'll just have a quick look here once that comes up. And we're not going to describe the human race to you because I'm pretty sure we all know what a human's all about. And our reproduction rate is plus 18% on continental planets. And we're quite aggressive, quite cautious, quite friendly, quite intelligent, and very dependable. We're cunning schemers. We have better spies by 15%. And we're gifted scientists, faster research by 15%. We have some resource bonuses. Yaris Marble gives us 5% bonus to all our colonies with access to this resource. And Yaris Marble is actually very rare. So we're going to initially start with that at our homeworld, but we're going to consume it fairly quickly. So we're going to lose the +5 happiness right away once we run out of that. So trying to get another source of that is going to be tricky because, like I said, it's very rare. Emer's Crystal, +5 strength bonus to new troops recruited at this colony. So any colonies with Emer's Crystal will get a bonus to the troop recruitment. And +5% development bonus for any colonies with the gold. And gold is a pretty common thing, so I'm sure we won't have any problem getting that. Race conditions we'll look at in a bit. I'm not going to worry too much about those. And this is a bit of a tweak for the AI mod. Continental planet colonization research is -75% of normal cost. So we'll be able to research that fairly quickly, which makes sense because we start off on continental. So we should already know how to live on a continental planet. Marshy swamps, which are pretty close to a continental planet, are only -50% of normal cost. And ocean, ice, and volcanics are quite a bit more research to achieve. So +200%, +100%, +300% for volcanics. So it's going to take a while to research those. And our continental colonies will have a 33% construction speed bonus. Perfect. So that's going to help us out. And ice colonies and volcanics take a bit of a hit to their construction speed. So if we colonize any of those, don't expect to build anything quick there. Characters, we start with an extra intelligent agent, and we are more likely to generate ambassadors, colony governors, scientists, and intelligence agents. And less likely to generate fleet admirals and troop generals, which is a bit troublesome, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. We've got to take the good with the bad, I guess. And the good being we're going to have ambassadors because we do want to be somewhat diplomatic in this game. And colony governors are always a good thing. And scientists, of course, we need more scientists. The more we have, the better our research will be. And more likely to generate intelligence agents by 30%, which is significant. So if we happen to lose one, it's not going to be too long before we get another one, which is perfect. And corporate nationalism is the default government, but I didn't pick that, and we'll go into governments a bit when we get into the other screens. So that's what the humans are all about. And we got a few resources here, including chromium, steel. It's always good to have steel at our homeworld because we go through a ton of that. Carbon fiber, polymer, and necrostone. So these are all a lot of the essentials that we're going to need right off the bat, right at our homeworld. So perfect on that. We have 5.2 billion people, and we're growing at 6%, which I'm thinking I can probably increase that to about 10% by going to zero tax, which we will do. Our value is 328, various stats here as well. Taxing at 7%, like I said, I'm going to drop that in a sec. And we do have 2 troops here. And I think before I get going and before I forget about it, I'm going to come in. And I'm just going to get rid of one of these. We don't really need any more than one at the beginning of the game. So I'm just going to see. That one has 12,100 strength. This one has 12,600 strength. So I'm going to disband this one. And I'm going to garrison this one. All you need is one troop because you do draw from the population if you happen to be raided by pirates. It's not going to hold off a full-scale invasion, but I'm not expecting that in the early game anyways, so we'll just go with that. So I just want to come in and do that because I always forget to do it. Okay. Okay, well, I guess I might as well stay in here, and we'll maybe rename this. I'm just going to call it Earth, just to keep with the empire name that we have. The Earth Federation, so we'll just call it Earth, and we're going to zero our tax to 0, which makes sense, I guess. Zero our tax to 0. Okay, and that'll encourage growth, and it will also the pirates will ask for less money if they see that we're running at a deficit. So bringing that down to 0 and running in the red for a bit till we establish our first pirate agreement is usually advisable. But we're going to be running 0 tax for a while, I think, as long as I can. Like I said. Generally can get to maximum population by year 15, 18, somewhere in there. So we'll have to see how that goes. Depends on what the leader's given us. Let's just have a quick look at that. We'll look at that in the other screen, actually. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do in there for the moment. Resources, we're not going to do much in here. I'm just going to sort by type, get that set up, and sort by distance. Ooh, we got two colonies in here. One's not so great, 71%, 26K, and the other one's 87%, 26K. So... that's typical. These additional plans are never usually as good as your homeworld, so that's kind of typical for the type of game we're playing. And victory conditions, like I said, we're not going to be concentrating on these too much, but we'll use it to track our progress. So we got to control 33% of all continental colonies in the galaxy, make mutual defense pacts with 15% of all empires in the galaxy, which we're going to try to be playing diplomatically, so hopefully we can get that. Destroy more enemy ships and bases than you lose. I'm guessing we're not even going to come close to that one. I'm sure we're going to lose a lot in this game. And then we need to earn the most trade and tourist income in the galaxy as well. And I'm not going to go through these too much other than to show off that we're playing extreme level. Okay, so next screen. I do one little tweak to the empire policies. Most of this is being controlled manually anyways, but when it comes to ship boarding and capture, for the early game, I like to always capture, always enlist, and then I don't want to upgrade military ships to latest design because generally it'll be a downgrade at the beginning of the game because we'll be capturing ships that are more advanced than what we're building. So we don't want to downgrade them to our own designs. And that's all I tweak out in here. So I'm going to apply that policy. And we'll come in and have a look at our characters. We'll sort by role. We have an ambassador, which is just waiting for something to do, which we'll just leave him. And we'll put our intelligence on counterintelligence. We got 2 agents, so that's pretty good. Okay, and our leader, have a look at our leader. Ooh, lots of red. Ooh, espionage +7. Okay. Colony happiness -4, that's kind of disappointing, but it's a scalable trait, so that will get better as time goes on. That's fine then. Military construction, civilian, and colony ship construction are all taking a 10% hit. We got a 33% increase in construction at this colony anyways, so it's not going to hurt us a whole lot. Trade income, 10%, and diplomacy, 10%. Perfect. The only thing about humans is your leader tends to get replaced a lot. So, yeah, we don't worry about that too much because sure enough, he'll get replaced just as he starts getting good. Okay, so that's our characters. Nothing to look at in diplomacy. I'm kind of second-guessing this color, though, but hopefully you guys can read that okay. It says cunning schemers, better spies by 15%, and gifted scientists, faster research by 15%. And we don't spend a whole lot of time looking at ourselves on this screen, so I'm not too worried about the coloring. Okay, so let's come in here and just look at our governments for a second. Military dictatorship is what I want, what I changed to. And corporate nationalism is the default government for humans. And this is the reason that I did not go with this. This particular government is very, very hard to make money under. As you can see, maintenance costs would be up plus 10% instead of lowered by 15%. Approval would be normal, which would be nice, but we're just going to deal with the approval. It's the only red hit we take on this. Growth rate would be -5%, which would hurt us in the early game. Research speed would hurt us in the early game as well, trying to get it a pre-warp with -10%. So we're just going to be normal on that. Troop recruitment would be down a little bit. That wouldn't disappoint me too much anyways, but the corruption would be up by 15 and the colony income would be down by 10. So those are definite bad hits, I'm finding. It was also suggested maybe we go for monarchy, which is a nice middle-of-the-road government. Not too much bad stuff going on there. Most of it's just average. Bit of a buff on troop recruitment and war wariness. But yeah, I think we're just going to stick with military dictatorship. If I find the Way of the Ancients, I'll probably switch to that. And somebody did suggest that if we get Way of Darkness, we should switch to it. But that sort of plays against what we're doing as far as the Shakturi goes. So we want to be a little bit friendlier with the Ancient Guardians, and being Way of Darkness would definitely hurt that. And I think you can actually ally yourself with the Shakturi. I've never done it, but if you wanted to play that way, I would pick a different race to do that, but you can play that way as well. And there's not much else to look at in here. Yeah, just 1K in expense so far. All right. And we'll come into science, or research. We have armor plating already queued up, which I agree with. I'm going to get that first. That way, if some pirates do take a shot at our stuff, it'll be able to absorb a bit of damage, and we won't just end up getting destroyed right away. And I am going to queue up railguns like I usually do. This is handy in the beginning game because we're fighting Kelters and all that kind of stuff, which don't really care about shields and that. And railguns seem to be really effective against them. For this game, I'm going to be concentrating on the missile tree. I'm going to be coming right down here as quickly as I can. We'll get the better missiles here, and then we'll improve them twice. Now, when we get to heavy missiles, I might actually try to go from this level all the way over to this level. This level here, the range takes a bit of a hit. We get better damage, so that's not bad, but the fire rate is 4.2 seconds up or down from 2.6 seconds. So that's a significant increase in the amount of shots we're going to be able to take. I think we might be able to mix the two types too, if we want to. Might try that in a little bit once we get to that point. But just getting to here would be a better upgrade, I think, just going from that to this. There are a couple other low-end technologies I want to try and go for. One of them is shipboarding I want to get, and starfighters initially I want to get. So I want to get those two initial tiers here as well. I'd like to come out to also get dedicated carriers as well, but we'll see how that works out. But yeah, we're going to be concentrating on missiles for sure. Energy torpedoes, not so much. The problem with these is you pretty much got to be at a point-blank situation for these to be really effective. If you look down, you can see that the damage is 11, but we take a damage loss of 3 per 100 distance. And the range is 300. So if we're shooting at a standoff situation, by the time our torpedoes get to the target, we're going to be doing 2 damage, and that's it. And they're pretty slow to fire too, so I'm probably going to avoid that. I might pick it up through espionage or something. Area weapons I'm probably not going to worry about either, unless I want to get into EMP blasting, then we might have to come along and grab that, but we'll see. Gravitic I'm not going to worry about too much either. Again, I might pick that up through espionage if I can. And my secondary choice would be beams, to come out beams. If we get the chance to come out there, if we're doing good on missiles, I might pick up a few tiers on this as well. So that's my plan for the weaponry anyways. Troop stuff I'm going to wait for. We're not going to be doing any invasions for a while, so just ignore that for the moment. Okay, normally I go for shields, but I think in this situation we're not going to in this game. I'm going to be pretty friendly with the pirates in the initial phase, so I'm going to wait and get that a bit later. I think right now I'm going to go for bigger ship sizes. And the reason I'm going for this is because my explorer ships in the beginning, I want to put mega fuel cells on them. I want to get to at least 660 fuel range on these. So we need a much bigger ship in order to pull that off. And we will also need that if we're going to go to warp drive and everything. It just makes it a little easier to design the ship to actually hold all this stuff. 230 isn't bad. You can get away with it, but it's going to hamper our early game exploration. So I'm going to queue that up first until we unlock warp fields. If I happen to unlock warp fields and we're only like 30% or something here, then I might whip up and get the warp fields first and then come back here, but we'll see how that works out. So I'm just going to queue that one up for now. And in high-tech and industrial, enhanced resource exploration is queued up, but we really don't need that in the pre-warp, I found. So I'm just going to unselect that. The one thing we're going to need, because we're taking a happiness hit with our government, is we're going to need happiness components for our spaceports. So I'm going to do this and this. So that'll give us entertainment systems and medical systems. And this will also allow us to get resort bases a little earlier. Transport systems will be coming up next because I do want to spam resort bases as much as I can, and we need the passenger storage in order to do that. So I'll probably queue that up next. Actually, I'm going to leave that unqueued. I'll see where we're at by the time we're done this. If it looks like we're going to break out of warp sometime soon, I'll maybe whip up and grab that first and then come back down and get that. So we'll just see how we play that out. And have a look here. This is a bit higher than I normally see because we're playing with an excellent starting system. And we have 5 billion people already. So that's usually this is like 12 and 15. But because we've bumped that up a bit, this is 16 and 18 with this particular playthrough. And we're getting plus 15% from the human race. Okay, so that's it for science. And we'll just whip into the designs for a bit here. And we'll actually just hang on. We'll get all these set to manual. Just bear with me while I do this. The only 2 things I don't set to manual are the private mining stations. And I just find it easier to just put them all on the manual and then come back in here and put them on automatic. Just easier to find than looking for these through the list. Okay, and we'll go to bases. Small spaceport, I'm going to edit. Basically, all I want to do is rename it. I just want to call it a basic port. And we'll set this to all weapons. This is defaulted to evade, which is a good thing if you have tractor beams. Basically, if you have your bases set to evade and you have tractor beams on them, the tractor beams will push the enemies away from the base. But we're not going to have tractor beams for quite a while. Maybe not at all. I don't know. We'll have to see how the weapons research goes. So I'm just going to change that to all weapons. I could probably go to standoff because all we have on this is missiles anyways, but I'll just go default all weapons is fine. So that's all I'm going to do to the small spaceport. And you'll notice there's no research labs on this, and I'm fine with that because I built a separate research lab in order to get that going. The reason I do that is because if you put your research on an actual research design, you get a percentage chance of getting a scientist with it. If you put your labs on a spaceport only and don't build the research labs, you don't get that percentage chance. So that's the reason I do that. And speaking of which, what I usually do is I grab the weapons research station. You could do it with anyone, but I just pick the weapons research just because it's there. And I copy as new. And I'm just going to completely rename this to a research base. And we'll go all weapons on this one as well. And we'll sort by category and by name. Okay, so basically in the beginning game, we'll just come back here, our potential is 239, and this will spike up to almost 300 once we build our first spaceport because our empire gets a resolve for improved research because of that little bit of a boost for building the spaceport. So we're going to go up to somewhere around 300, so I'm just going to shoot for 300. On the weapons, we already got 60, so I'm going to add one more weapons lab to bring us to 90. And high tech will go to 90 as well. Okay, so 90 and 90. And then energy, I'm going to go to 120, just to give a little bit of a spike on the energy. So 90, 120, and 90. So that's 300 total. And a couple of having life. And I think that's all we need to do to this. I'm not going to worry about weapons or tuning anything else up. Let's just get this done. So that's the end of the bases we need to adjust. I'm going to come into ships quickly, and I'm going to grab our Explorer, and I'm just going to add a few more engines to this. I think we can get to 51 without slowing us down. Yeah, there's 51. We have 37 excess energy output. We're using 36 to cruise right now. If I put one more engine on it, we start going down. So I'm going to take that one off, and we'll just live with 51, which is actually pretty swift for a pre-warp ship. Okay, and the construction ship, we'll edit this one as well, and I always put a resource profile sensor. This is the unit that the Explorer ships have, which allows them to see what resources are on the planet. I always like to put one of these on the construction ships just in case I decide to try to mine something I haven't explored yet, and then at least by the time we get to the planet, we'll know what's on it before we actually start the mining operation. And I'm also going to put some more engines on this. And having life as well. And I usually go for 25. It's usually pretty good for pre-warp. And we'll save that. And that's all our design adjustments we need to do. Okay, I am trying to get through this a little quickly. I don't think we're actually going to get fired up this episode, but this is pretty much typical for one of my playthroughs. The first episode is just setting up and explaining what I'm doing. All right, because I'm playing full screen, I don't have to worry about an offset for my positioning of spaceports. So I'm just going to right-click, build a small spaceport. And it appears right where I right-clicked, which is perfect. And right at the same spot, I'm going to right-click, build a research base. And that's going to be right on top of it. So they're going to be right at the same spot. So they're going to help protect each other. And I'm also going to queue up 2 construction ships, which is all I'm going to need for the pre-warp. Okay, so we got 2 of those going. And I think that's kind of all we need to do. Yeah, I guess we'll call this one to a close, and when we come back for next episode, we will fire this up and we'll get things going. So it's not looking like a bad start. We got lots of planets in here, lots of planets and moons. I'm just going to zoom out and select the system. We have 11 planets and 9 moons, which is pretty good. I generally get less than this on my game generations on the extreme level. So I think we're going to be all right as far as home system resources. And like I said, we got lots of gas giants, so we're going to have no problem with fuel. I'm expecting maybe 2 sources of fuel in here if I'm lucky. That would be nice. Sometimes the pirates come in and try to snag one, but we'll definitely scare them off as quickly as possible if that happens. All right, so I think we'll bring this one to a close, and we've got our new series kick-started at this point. So this should be a bit scary and a bit fun at the same time, I think. So it's not going to be like the other Extreme series. The pirates are not going to be ruling the skies in the later game. The other Extreme series is just crazy pirate activity. So, I mean, I haven't even been doing anything with empires in that game. And so this is going to be a much more empire-oriented game. So it should be a lot, quite a bit more interesting. Plus, we got lots of empires and lots of systems and all that kind of good stuff with the new machine I have. We're able to do all that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to playing this one out. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the setup I've started here, and hopefully this series will go a fair distance without me getting killed, but I guess we'll see what happens. So if you're still with me, thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you next time.